All right, everyone, going to be getting into another college football props bet video here, touching on the top prop bets here for this Texas versus Ohio State game. Let's go ahead and get into it. And so, guys, going to be a pretty fast video here because it's a one-game slate, and we're really just not getting that many great prop bets, at least as it sits on PrizePicks. On Underdog, we're getting a couple that I'll touch on here in just a second. So looking at it right now, guys, we are getting some interesting lines here for Will Howard. We are seeing his rush attempts is at 7.5 is the average Vegas line for that. And PrizePicks has bumped this down to 7. So this one is likely to be a push here with his rush attempts, but we are seeing his rush yards is slightly off here on PrizePicks and Underdog for that matter compared to the average sportsbook line and compared to the projection data. Now, the issue with quarterbacks, as most of you guys probably know, is if they get sacked, that actually counts against their rush yards. And so that does make it a little bit more difficult for them to obviously get their over rush yards. That is typically a bet that I like to stay away from because of that, because that's like a variable that you can't really predict too much. And so I want to stay away from that one. I'm not going to be touching on that bet, even though it is the best bet on the board right now. It still only has a 53% likelihood to hit, so we don't need to get there. The player that I probably want to get to the most, at least on PrizePicks, is looking at Henderson here. We are seeing his rush attempts here at 10 is an okay bet. You could bet 9.5, on the average sports books. It's a little bit surprising that they're bumping this one up, though, because it's only about a 53.7% likelihood to hit. Typically speaking, they'll bump it once he gets up to 54% likelihood. So interesting there. The bet that I actually like the most on him is this bet here for him to get over 47.5 rush yards. He's been able to get this over in 12 out of the 14 games thus far this season, which is obviously a great hit rate. Now, it is worth calling out that, yes, this is a more difficult matchup for them. But against some of the other big matchups that they've had, he's been able to get those as well. And so obviously 12 out of 14, insanely good hit rate. Texas, though, I mean, these are two of the best defenses in the league going up against each other. Of course, it's going to be, tougher to predict. Will it be more of an offensive fest or defensive struggle? I kind of want to bet more based off of that. That's kind of the bets I want to chase is, all right, will the defenses really step up in these games or will the offenses really step up in these games? And heck, we could see that be a first half thing and a second half thing. And that's kind of what makes college football a little bit more difficult is what it's just good teams going against good teams right now. So it's like which of their strengths is more likely to hit. That's also why we are getting this low line for him, because it is a really good running back, a really good, obviously, OSU team going against arguably the best defense in college football. And so I almost want a game stack, honestly, where I'm like chasing more over bets altogether or chasing more under bets altogether. And that will be echoed here with the Underdog prop bets that we are getting. Now, guys, Matthew Golden under his fantasy score is currently the best bet here on Underdog. I know some people are not going to like that after the really good game he had against Arizona State. Now, we know a lot of his production or some of his production did come in OT. That is something to be aware of. Now, if you want to bet on his overs, I would argue you should bet his over receiving yards on PrizePicks. That'd be the way to go. But if you think maybe just doesn't score a touchdown, then the under here on Underdog would be the way to go. This one has a 54% likelihood. This is a good bet. I'm going to show you guys it on PrizePicks. Just know that the PrizePicks line is slightly different. We are doing a slight calculation difference here. Underdog is half point PPR. PrizePicks is full point PPR. And so again, like if you want to bet on his over receiving yards, this is where you would do it. But I'm a little bit worried that this is a great defense here with Ohio State. I know he's able to get that against Georgia. I know against Clemson, not able to get the over. And against Arizona State, yes, he was able to get that over. Don't get me wrong. Had a really good game there. I don't really want to take that away from him. But, some of his production did come in that OT. Arizona State, not as nearly as good of a defense as Ohio State. And he has gotten 28 targets over the past 3 games, which we really shouldn't ignore. That's a ton of targets there as well. But we look at his fantasy score, guys. We are seeing a slightly different story, right? With that, where he hasn't been hitting it as consistently. Now, again, got against Arizona State, a little bit of a different matchup to me. And so I'm okay betting the under here. Again, we're going to be doing that on Underdog. That's where we're getting the edge. I want to show you guys it on PrizePicks because they're a little bit better with the presentation here. And then same thing here with Junkins for his under on Underdog as well. To me, I do kind of like that. If this one hits, our other bet on PrizePicks should be able to hit as well. I'm not going to say they like heavily correlate, but I think if one hits, the other one is also more likely to hit. And maybe that's a bad thing. Maybe they both end up missing because of that. But, decent edges here. And then from there, guys, really not too much. Like Quinn Ewers, we are seeing a slight prop line difference between PrizePicks and Underdog. But that's really it for fantasy score. I'll zoom out here just to see if we're getting any other good prop bets here. Ewers for under 1.5 passing touchdowns. I'm kind of okay with that one. If you were trying to do a 3-slip bet on PrizePicks, I'd be fine with that. Just because on PrizePicks or on Underdog, you are getting the 6x payout as opposed to PrizePicks where it's a 5x payout. I could get there, but after that, I really don't need to get there, guys. And so we'll go ahead and get into the bet of the day. Make sure to give a like to the video though, guys, before we do that. I do appreciate that. Does help out the channel a lot. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel as well. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, so I do want to echo this again, guys. Like, we can bet the lower, betting on it being more of a defensive struggle. If you guys are saying it is not going to be a defensive struggle, these two teams are going to go off, it's going to be high scoring, that's fine. I do think one or the other could happen. Obviously, it could, but you know what I'm saying. If you want to bet the over, do that on PrizePicks. We are getting a decent prop line difference between the two sites. The better bets, though, per Vegas data, is going to be betting the under for these two on Underdog. And then on PrizePicks, guys, I really only like the Henderson over rush yards as it sits right now. It's a one-game slate. I don't want to force too much. Let's kind of just sit back and enjoy the game on Friday. That's going to be all, guys. Make sure, again, to give a like to the video. That does help out a lot. We'll be coming out with a lot of NFL playoff videos here as well. Be on the lookout for those, guys. Thanks for watching. If you guys want access to any of the tools available on 95sports.com, check those out. They're available for just $10 a month. Thanks for watching, guys. Good luck with all your bets. And as always, let's keep cashing.